Hi, thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to be creating a layout based on this sketch by Cindy, the scrapbook cowgirl. And I'm going to be scrapbooking photos from a culinary competition that my son participated in. I believe he was in 10th grade at the time. There he is with all the desserts that he did create. He's got some chocolate covered strawberries. He made a tuxedo cake. He's got eclairs, a whole lot of different things. So I have a bunch of pictures just of the different desserts that he made, which were very yummy. Another display, and then a close-up of his tuxedo cake. So I'm thinking about bringing in just some super simple papers because the pictures are very black and white, a little bit of red. So I'm just going to bring in some basic black and some real red. And then I'm thinking for the other papers, I'm going to be bringing in this Botanical Textured paper. And then this paper, which is also from the same Botanical Textures paper pack. So that will come, so this is C. It'll have a strip here of this. The rest will come over here, and then we'll duplicate the floral or the foliage over on this side. So let me cut down these papers real quick. I cut down all my papers. I did deviate a little bit from the measurements that Cindy did use. I ended up putting a double strip on this side, and on this side I did make mine just a little bit wider. I'm just working with what I have. Just want to bring my pictures in real quick and lay them out. I will be adjusting those probably a little bit as well because I want to take up a little extra space because I don't have a whole lot to embellish with quite at this point. I'm going to have to go to my Cricut and see what I can come up with. But I'm definitely going to mat my photos. So pictures are going to sit something like that. I'm going to put the title over here. These will come down just a little bit. An embellishment cluster up there, journaling down here, and maybe a little bit more embellishment over here. Thinking, don't know if I want to double mat them or just single mat them. So at this point, I think I'm going to just single mat my photos. I think black is going to be a better option because I got this white here. So if I put white against it, it's kind of going to blend in, especially with this one as well. So I think I'm just going to stay with a single mat. I'm going to mat them all up in the black cardstock. So let me clear these out. I'm going to cut my mats down real fast, and I'm also going to see what I can come up with embellishments since I really didn't bring too much of that along with me. So be right back. I've gone ahead and I inked up all my edges. I did cut my pieces down, so I'm building this on just a piece of black cardstock. So I'm just going to put down my last piece. I inked most of them up with just a black ink except for the red, which I did in real red. I did come in and mat my photos along with my journaling. I did my title, The Art of Dessert, and in Cindy's sketch, she had the title down below. I chose to run it above and below. So I just printed it on a piece of white cardstock. I did ink the edges in black, and then I just centered my photo there in the middle. And that's going to come sit over here. Then she had the double matted, or the mat with the double photos just off to the side. I'm going to put this 4x6. So all my pictures, these are 4x6. I think I mentioned them, and then I just matted from there. So I did not cut down and then mat up. My journaling is going to go down here below. That is also 4 inches wide, and let's see, that one is about 3 inches tall. So I did that in lieu of a 4x6 because I didn't have any extra pictures. And then I'm going to bring this one in. We'll play with the position of that in just a bit. Cindy has a couple of strips of paper behind her double photo on here on the left. So I came in, and instead of cutting a full piece, I cut my paper into pieces. I did ran off to the scrapbook store, which is so exciting because where I live in California, we don't have scrapbook stores anymore. So everything has to be bought online. So they have a couple here, so I was excited. So I picked up an embossing folder. I'm just going to ink these up really quick, and I'm going to tuck it in behind. This is real red, and look how sweet that little heart embossing folder is. Thought that tied in rather well with the cake. Let me just get this other one done. I'm just going to do 3 sides because one side is going to get tucked underneath. So I'm going to stick this one to the bottom and have that hanging out. And then I'm just going to do my best to balance them so they look symmetrical, so that they're one piece. The other strip that goes in there, I am just going to be using a strip. I'm doing exactly the same. I'm bringing my black ink, except for the one that's coming over here, the one that sits on top. I'm going to dovetail that. So I just literally, I think it's a 2-inch piece of paper. Because I'm just going to tuck it behind, and you're not going to see any of it. So ink those edges up real quick, just using my little sponge tool. Get that all done, and we're just going to tuck those in behind. So this one's going to go to the top. It's going to sit over the top of the red, something like that. And then what looks like there's a banner sticking out from the bottom. I did also pick up some roses from Michael's, just little rose stickers. I thought they kind of went with the roses in his display. Like I said, I didn't have a whole lot to work with, so didn't want to pick up too much, but I'm thinking, let's bring a few roses in. And let's see, do a large one up there on the bottom. I do have some sprigs that I did bring along, so we'll add some of those. I have a little tab I like to stick there on the side. I cut out some tags. I did the same with the embossing folder. I cut out the tag first, and then I embossed it after the fact. So I still have the little stitching all the way around like that. That's going to come up here. Wanted to bring in a few little hearts, so we're going to do that as well, maybe right there. And like I said, I have some sprigs, so I'm going to bring a few of those in just for embellishment. And these are just done out of the basic black. And so some of them are in basic black, some of them are the reverse side. So we're just going to add a few. I'm hoping one of each. Make sure I have 2 different colors there. And I'm just thinking, I will stick a couple in like this. Thinking we might add just a couple to the bottom as well. Here we can overlap the photo that's not really getting in the way of anything else. And then just maybe a couple up here to build up this cluster just a little bit more. So let me adhere all of this down real quick, and I have a little bit of bling that I was able to pick up, and I will show you our final layout. I have adhered most everything down. I did save these last 2 just to kind of show you what I was doing, but I did my best just to kind of line it up with the marks on my mat so it looked like it was one continuous piece. This I'm just going to add a little adhesive, make sure that, let me bring in my black one more time. I seem to not have inked that too well. I like to get rid of that white core. I didn't push this down too hard. It all has adhesive on it. I just didn't want to push it down too hard until I got to that point. And then the little piece that looks like it is a banner. Adhere that down here on the bottom. And so it looks like about 8 1/4 is about where I'm at. Let me lift this up a little. So that looks pretty even. So I'm going to put that in there. I do have a little bit of red bling. This is just from Michael's. Just I want to add a little bit of that throughout the layout, just to brighten it up. I like the red with the black. Just add a couple everywhere. Working in groups of 3. And I might bring in a larger one here, maybe on the heart. Something like that. Let's bring in a couple down here. Let's go with a couple of larger ones since it is the title. And maybe a smaller one up above. And then a couple more up here at the top. Just to complete the layout. Would like to find a little something something there. If I added a red dot or a piece of red bling, I think it's just gonna just, you're not gonna see it. There's a problem. So maybe once I get home I can find a little sentiment or something that might look cute on there. But this is my layout. I hope you enjoyed it. It was kind of fun trying to figure out how to make it work with really limited supplies. Next time I'm going to have to pack a little bit better, but yeah, I'm happy. I love the black and red. I always think that's so incredibly classic. The roses just kind of tie in with his decorations, along with the hearts and the shape of his cake and his little chocolate covered strawberries. Let me just lift this side up real quick and let you see that cluster there. But I'm really happy with it. I will list the products that I used down in the description below. If you liked my video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.